So this is just our overview for today. We are going to review what self-determination is and how you get there and the road to SDP. Then I'll talk a little more in depth about FMS or financial management services. Then we'll end in a Q&A. I promise that although there are a lot of acronyms, I will make sure to explain what they are too, so it doesn't feel like alphabet soup. So first, just to review self-determination, started in 2021 here in California. It allows you to spend your allocated budget to a variety of statewide services to support you or your loved one. So basically you get, rather than the regional center deciding the services with you and using their vendors, you get the money and you get to pick who you'd be working with. So you choose your providers, you choose your services, and you get to choose every part of your life. As far as the people that you will work with in the SDP process, there are two required people, which is the regional center and the FMS agency. So the regional center, you know them, you love them. They're the ones who are doing your IPP. They're the ones who are providing you with that budget. And they're there to help you transition from the traditional services, so whatever you're doing currently, to SDP. Another required one is the financial management service. That's what we'll talk about today. They're the ones who basically hold on and dole out the money. They manage your budget, they make payments, they do any background checks necessary. I like to think of them almost like a human resource department. They're the one checking you're good to go before they get hired. They're the ones doing payroll, all that fun stuff. Other important people as part of your SDP team is your circle of support. So friends, family, has teachers you love, support staff, things like that. They'll be there along the way to help you create your person-centered plan, which is where you write all about you or your loved one, whoever's going through SDP. And that's to really outline where they're looking for their life to go. Another person who can help you is an independent facilitator. This is what we do here at NeuroNav. We facilitate making that person-centered plan, help navigate the program, assist with resources, work with the regional center, the FMS, and just get to be the voice that wants, a voice that voices, the wants and needs of our participants. So again, just to review how self-determination compares with traditional services, self-determination is all personalized, built throughout the individual and your family specific situation. It's focused on individual interests, needs, and wants. Communication is centralized via service provider so that all logistics are handled for you, as well as streamlined payment through the financial management service. Traditional services can be standardized, cookie cutter services, or like one size fits all. It focuses on the generalized vendor processes. So basically, however the regional center, whoever they have as vendors, however they're set up, that's the way that it can be used in traditional services. It often has a lot of back and forth, and self-determination cuts out some of that middleman as well. So quick review of the road to self-determination. There's a lot of steps, but go through it quickly just so we really understand where financial management service comes into play. You hopefully have all done your orientation at the through the state. You can do these online. It's about a 2-hour training that talks about SDP. If you want to transition into SDP, you have to complete one of those orientations and just let your service coordinator know that. Next, you create a person-centered plan. You can do this on your own with an independent facilitator. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. We go through all sorts of different questions and activities with you to help you create it. So we'll talk about like likes, dislikes, best supports, best ways of communication, ideal weeks. We help you plan out basically everything you want to do in life. Next, you go to the regional center where they look at the needs that you have and they create a budget off of that. So if they see that you need, for example, support staff with independent living, they'll look at the amount of hours that you would have in the traditional system as well as the price they would pay an agency to work with you with something like that. And then you'd be able to get that as money to use the FMS agency rather than through the regional center. After that, you build a spending plan, which I always think is a fun step. You have a lump sum from that budget, and the spending plan is where you get to divvy up who's getting paid what. So for example, if you want to have a wonderful support staff now that you love and you want to pay them more, you can take a little money out of another category and pay them more per hour. Additionally, a lot of families find that agencies have a high overhead. So for something like support staff or nursing, they're able to pay these staff a significantly higher wage because there's not as much overhead with these. Then we need to select an FMS, which I'm going to hop back to in just a second. Finalize an IPP, which is the plan that you have every year with the regional center. They'll create an SDP IPP, basically a plan about using self-determination, and then you're all set and you're in SDP. I know it's a lot of steps. I'm happy to hop back to this during Q&A, but this is the road to self-determination summed up real quick. So now we'll talk about FMS, or financial management services. A lot of SDP, self-determination, is just acronyms. This is a common one, so I was trying to make sure I give you both the acronym and the full name. So a financial management service is one of the required vendors that we need to use in SDP. They are required to manage the individual budget and spending plan and supports participants by paying for the services, staff, etc., who they choose. Currently, FMS agencies have wait lists for SDP start dates, most not starting until the end of summer or the fall at this point. Some of the ways an FMS can help include paying for services, or paying employees, verifying provider qualifications, and helping them comply with employment laws and tax requirements. Even though this is through the regional center, you are still the one who gets to hire staff, so they just want to make sure that you are following all the steps you have to, and that's one of the reasons that you have an FMS. When we send you home this PowerPoint, if you click here, I don't know if it says in the bottom of your screen, real tiny, that a website pops up. There is a master list from, let's see, so it's from DDS that shows you all the different financial management services, as well as you can sort by regional center. So for example, if you want to see what Golden Gate Regional Center has or who they work with, here would be the list of that. Let's see. So I like to draw a little arrow here. This is at like the 4.5 step of the SDP process. A few of you might be here because you heard there's a new FMS directive. I know whenever you hear directive, it's like, oh gosh, what's changing now? But this is a good directive. Currently, regional centers pay FMS by the amount of services and vendors and people that you'll be working with. So if, for example, you hire one staff, they'd pay a different amount than if they're hiring 10 people to work with you. This is allowing FMS agencies to be paid more in terms of how they do get their money from the regional center, which is in part to assuage the FMS availability issue. If they don't have enough staff there, then they can't hire all your staff. So the idea is that this will help like assuage that issue so that they're able to hire more and things can move faster. This does not affect your budget at all. This does not limit the amount of staff you use, anything like that. It's entirely just so the FMS gets paid more, which hopefully means they can hire more people. So I just wanted to put that out there so no one else got scared of just hearing an FMS directive and not knowing what that meant. Here at NeuroNav, we've created this infographic to help determine what FMS option is right for you. So FMS comes in 3 models, as if there weren't enough options in this. The first is called bill payer model. The second is sole employer, and the third is co-employer. So we've created this kind of like quiz as far as determining the right FMS. So if you currently have a team of people that you work with and they're wonderful, and you just want the opportunity, you know, in the future, right now you might be in like a swimming class, it's great, but you want to be able to have more flexibility if you find another program, but you just want to hire the same people for now, you can do what's called the bill payer model. So you select the service providers and any goods to purchase, and then the FMS takes over from there. This, if you're looking to hire your staff, like individually pick them, like, or let's say you have a family friend you'd love to hire to work with you or your loved one. So sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. If you have someone that you're looking to hire privately, bill payer is not the model for you. If you are looking to be there, have the ability to hire and fire them, you can do one of 2 models, which is sole employer or co-employer. For sole employer, this you would actually be the employee of record. You have the authority to hire and fire people, but you also have employee liability, need an employer identification number, as well as acquiring insurance. If you just want to be able to pick who you hire and fire and not do any of the other stuff, you can do the co-employer model. So you would be the managing employer, but it's not, you know, your company or anything like that. You still obviously get to choose who you're hiring or firing. But as far as being the employer of record or having liability insurance or getting an employee identification number, all of that is handled by the FMS agency. I always say we'll never tell you which to do. I'll just tell you which is the most popular. Co-employer model has been the most popular that we've seen here at NeuroNav. I know I popped up that DDS page earlier that said which FMS agencies work with which regional centers. Again, I've linked that here. Something else to note, depending the size of your budget, you may have less choice of FMS agencies. So in that list, some of those FMS agencies have caps for their budget. So for example, there's one called Cambrian that has a cap of $120,000 per year. If you're over that, every once in a while, we've heard that they will, through an appeal process, you can get up to a budget of $200,000, but that's not like set in stone. Aviana is $150,000 per year. But there's 2 called GT Independence and Mainzel, which have no cap as far as what budget you can have. And in order to begin working with an FMS agency, many people ask, can I start working with them earlier than I need them? You know, if I reach out to them now, but I haven't done any of the other steps of SDP, can I sign up so that we move faster? Unfortunately, that's not something they let you do. In order to begin working with an FMS, they ask for a signed budget, which is just the regional center gave you the budget, you decided to agree with it. A spending plan draft, which is just where you think all the money you want to break it down goes to, and your most recent IPP. I know this has been a ton of information. I'm going to give a little more about how NeuroNav can help you with SDP, and then we'll turn over to Q&A, just so that we can clear up some of the things. So once you enter SDP and you've done the FMS agency and things like that, or you're just starting out in general, NeuroNav has options for both to support you. So there are 2 ways we can do this. As I mentioned, we can help you enter SDP here, or we also offer something called independent facilitation after. And that's where we get to manage all the fun paperwork for you. After you do this and you spend a year in SDP, you got to start, make another budget, make another spending plan. You have some more work to do again. It's not a one time and you're done. So that's something you can support with. Every time you have to interact with the FMS agency, we can support with that as well. We're also can help with hiring and finding staff. So just something to keep in mind. Like I mentioned, that would be our independent facilitator or facilitation, model, which is just continued support. The price of that varies. However, if you're looking just to get into self-determination, we offer our person-centered planning program. The price is $2,500, but not from you. The regional center has it set aside for individuals to get into SDP. They pay out for that. It does not affect your budget. It does not affect your services, anything like that. And that timeline on our end is quick. We can write a person-centered plan with you quickly, but sometimes with any regional center hiccups and FMS hiccups, it's leading more to 6 months as far as turnaround. So if you're looking to get some more help with us, you can schedule a free consultation. We'll have a chat with you about your needs, things like that. And then we will start building your person-centered plan.